So the topic of our today's video is probability. This is one of the topic of CAI syllabus and from Mathematics 4024. Now the learning objectives which are given in the CAI syllabus are: the first learning objective is calculate the probability of a single event as either a fraction or a decimal. So whenever you find the probability of a single event, either you give answer in fraction or in decimal. Understand that the probability of an event occurring, it means that if any event is happening, then it is equal to 1 minus the probability of the event not occurring. For example, if we are finding the probability of any of the event, like for example, if we are finding the probability of head from a coin, then what is not occurring? That tail is not occurring. So if we subtract the probability of tail from 1, it will be equal to the probability of head. I'll explain you further this learning objective through the questions. Understand relative frequency as an estimate of probability. Previously, relative frequency was not the part of our syllabus. They have added relative frequency in 2018 in the mathematics syllabus. Calculate the probability of simple combined events using possibility diagram and tree diagram where appropriate. So today we will discuss possibility diagram and tree diagram also. Then, what is probability? Probability is the likelihood or chance of an event occurring. So it means that if we are tossing a coin, okay, that is an event, okay. So we will find the probability of either getting a chance of head or a chance of tail. So that is probability. The formula of probability is the number of a favorable outcomes divided by total number of outcomes. It means like if we have a coin, so on coin we have two outcomes, that is head and tail. So we have total outcomes 2, and if we find the probability of head, then if we toss a coin, the possibility of getting a head is just one time. So the probability of a head will be 1 upon 2. Similarly, we have to remember few things when we simplify the questions of probability. So first of all, the probability of something which is certain to happen is 1. Like for example, we are tossing a coin and we are finding the probability of either a head or a tail. So definitely on a coin we will get either a head or a tail. So if we add both probabilities, it will be equal to 1. Similarly, the probability of something which is impossible to happen is 0. So for example, if we have a dice and we are throwing that dice and we are saying that what is the probability of getting a number 7 on dice. So as we know that we are not having number 7 on the dice, so that event is impossible to happen. So in that case, the probability is 0. Then the last thing is the probability of something not happening is 1 minus the probability that it will happen. Here, I can give you an example of a dice once again. Like if we are finding a probability of getting an odd number from the dice, so an odd number probability, how many odd numbers we have on the dice? We have 1, 3 and 5. So it means we have 3 odd numbers on the dice. So if we divide 3 by the total outcomes on the dice is 6. So 3 divided by 6 is the probability of getting an odd number. So for example, if we have to find the probability of an even number, what we will do? We will subtract the probability of an odd number from 1. As we have discussed that the probability of any event certain to happen, or remember the total probability of any event is equal to 1. So for example, if we have a probability of odd as 3 upon 6, or if we simplify it, it will be 1 upon 2. So if we find the probability of even number, then we can subtract this 1 upon 2 probability from 1. Because as we know that the total probability of any event is equal to 1. So on dice we can have only 2 events, either a head, either odd numbers or even numbers. Okay, so if we subtract the probability of even number from 1, we will get the probability of odd number. And similarly, if we subtract the probability of odd number from 1, we will get the probability of an even number. So if we take an LCM here and simplify, then 2 minus 1, so it's also half. So as we know that on the dice we have half of the numbers odd and half of the numbers even. So both odd and even number has 50-50% probability. Okay. Now, if we move towards the next topic, and that is probability line. So remember, as I have told you, that the total probability of any event is equal to 1. Okay. So your probability always lie in between 0 to 1. Okay. That's why we will get answer in fraction or in decimal. Okay. Now, when we have even chance, like as we have discussed the example of dice, like if we have a probability of odd number or even number, so both has 50-50% chance. Similarly on coin also, like either we get a head or a tail. So both has a probability of 1/2. Tail is also having a probability 1/2. So both has 50-50% chance. So in that case, it's an even chance. Here we have an even chance in the middle. Now if we move towards the one, that here on the right hand side we have likely chance. Okay, then 1 is exactly certain. Then if we move towards the left hand side of even chance, then here we have unlikely, and then we have discussed impossible event also, like if we find the probability of getting a 7 on dice. So as we know that we cannot get 7 on the dice, so that is impossible to happen. So in that case the probability is 0. So remember, most important thing, that probability always lies in between 0 to 1. Okay, and either we will write answer in fraction or in decimal. If you are getting probability 1.01 or 1.09, then in that case also your answer is wrong, because your probability cannot be more than 1. Now next we have what is a sample space. Then sample space is, the sample space of an experiment is all the possible outcomes for that experiment. A couple of simple examples here. So basically sample space is all the possible outcomes for that experiment. For example, if we have an example of a coin, then on coin we have only 2 outcomes, either a head or a tail. Okay, so either when we toss a coin, either we will get a head or a tail. So if we write these outcomes in this bracket, we will call it sample space. Similarly, here we have another example of dice. So on dice we know that we have 6 numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If we write all these numbers in the bracket, here we will call it sample space of a dice. Okay, so a sample space is a collection or a set of possible outcomes of a random experiment. The sample space is represented by the symbol S. Okay, we represent sample space by a capital S. Okay, now next thing we have here, we have one of the question from 7th edition of Mathematics book 4, and the topic is probability, chapter number 3. Question number 1 of exercise 3A is, a fair coin and a fair 6-sided dice are tossed and rolled respectively. So the coin is tossed and the dice is rolled. Using set notation, list the sample space of the experiment. So as we know that on coin we have 2 things, that is head and tail. Similarly on dice we have 6 numbers from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now if we write the sample space of both together, so maybe if we are tossing a coin we are getting head, okay, and on the dice we are getting number 1. Similarly, the first sample space is, maybe we will get head or either tail, and then 1. Similarly, if we toss it once again, maybe on the coin we will get again tail, and on the dice we will get number 2. Now similarly, maybe from the coin we will get tail, and from dice we will get number 3. Similarly, T4, T5 and T6. It means from the coin we are getting tail, and then from the dice we are getting 1. Then again from the coin we are getting tail, and from the dice we are getting 2. Now similarly, maybe when we toss a coin we are getting head, and from the dice we are getting number 1. So in the same way we will write these sample space also, like head 2, we can get head 3, we can get head 4, we can get head 5, and we can get head tail, head and 6, sorry. Okay, so these all are the possible outcomes, and here we have written all these outcomes as a sample space. So for example, in the question they are asking that what is the probability of getting a tail on the coin and number 4 on the dice. Okay, so tail on the coin and number 4 on the dice, here we have it just one time. Okay, and how many total outcomes we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So total outcomes are 12. And what is the probability of getting a tail on the coin and 4 number on the dice is just one time. So the probability is 1 upon 12. Probability of getting a tail and number 4. Okay, I hope you have understood this. Now, if we move towards the next part, here we have possibility diagram. This is another concept of probability. A possibility diagram or sample space diagram, or we can call it possibility diagram, shows information about event outcomes in a structured view. So when we write the possible outcomes in a structured view, we will call it either probability diagram, sample space diagram, or possibility diagram. Space diagrams are normally used to show the possible combination of two events. Okay, whenever we use the possibility diagram, we will use it when we have two events happening together. So here we have an example of two dice. So here we have one of the dice, so we can say that here we have first dice. Okay, and on this dice we have number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and similarly here we have another dice, and on this dice again we have number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if we write the possible outcomes in the possibility diagram, how we will write it? We will take number from the first dice and then the number from the second dice, and write the number, both numbers with a comma here. So 1, 1. Then number from the first dice and the number from the second dice. Okay, so it will be 1, 2. Okay, then 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 5, 1, 6. Okay, similarly when we move towards the next row, here we have taken 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 2, 4, 2, 5 and 2, 6. Similarly then we have taken 3, 1, 3, 3, 2, 3, 3, 3, 4, 3, 5, 3, 6, 4, 1, 4, 2, 4, 3, 4, 4, 4, 5, 4, 6, 5, 1, 5, 2, 5, 3, 5, 4, 5, 5, 5, 6, 6, 1, 6, 2, 6, 3, 6, 4, 6, 5, 6, 6. One thing more, like as we have these numbers here first, so here we will have second dice, this is second dice, and this is the first dice. Here we have first dice. So that's why remember that first we will write the number from the first dice and then we will write the number from the second dice. Okay, so similarly, for example, we have a spinner and on a spinner we have numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we have another spinner, and on that spinner we have number 1, 2 and 3. So if we draw the possibility diagram, how we will draw this? Here we will take the first spinner. So on first spinner we have number 1, 2, 3 and 4. And on the second spinner here, if we write second spinner, then on second spinner we have number 1, 2 and then 3. So how we will complete the possibility diagram? First we will write the number from the first spinner and the number from the second spinner. So it's 1, 1, similarly 2, 1, 3, 1 and 4, 1. Okay, so first we have written the number from the first spinner and then the second spinner. Okay, why I am telling you this, that you will write the first spinner number first and the second spinner number on the second space, because in the question they will ask you that what is the probability of getting a number 4 from the first spinner and number 6 from the second spinner. So in that case you will just check that where you are getting 4, 6 and then you will count those possible outcomes and directly write the answer. Okay, so here we have one question from exercise 3A. Once again I have taken this question from the same exercise, book 4, 7th edition, chapter 3, exercise 3A, and question number 4. A box contains 3 cards bearing the number 1, 2, 3 and a second box contains 4 cards bearing the number 2, 3, 4 and 5. Okay, a card is chosen at random from each box. So from both boxes we have taken one card. Display all the possible outcomes of the experiment using a possibility diagram. So here in this question they are asking to draw the possibility diagram. Okay, so first we will take the numbers from the first box. So here we have first box. So on first box we have number 1, 2 and 3. And similarly on the second box, so here we have second box, and on the second box we have numbers 2, 3, 4 and 5. 2, 3, 4 and 5. So if we write the possible outcomes here and to complete the box, first we will write the number from the first box and the number from the second box. So it will be 1, 2, then 2, 2, 3, 2. Okay, then we have 1, 3, 2, 3 and then 3, 3. Then we have 1, 4, 2, 4 and then 3, 4. On the first place we have written the number from the first box, and on the second place we have written the number from the second box. Now 1, 5, then 2, 5 and then 3, 5. So here we have completed this possibility diagram. Now how many outcomes we have? We can count it as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Or you can do one more thing, like here in the first box we have 3 numbers and in the second box we have 4 numbers. So if we multiply these two, how many total outcomes we have? We have 12 total outcomes. Now with the help of the possibility diagram, calculate the probability that, in the B part they are saying, now use the possibility diagram to find the probability. The first part is the card bear the same number. So now let's check that how many times we are getting same number. So if we check this one, see here we are getting 2, 2. So these two are same number. Here we are getting 3, 3. These two are same number. Okay, then nothing else is same. So we can say that 2 times we are getting same number. Okay, so if 2 times we are getting same number, so it means that the probability of first part is 2 upon the total outcomes is 12. So it will be 1 upon 6. Now in the second part they are saying the numbers on the cards are different. So as in the first part we have done the same numbers, okay, so the rest of the numbers must be different. So if 2 numbers are same, so from the total, if the total is 12, so how many numbers are remaining? 10 numbers are remaining. So 10 times we are getting different numbers. Okay, so in this part what we will do, we will just divide 10 by 12 because the total outcomes are 12, and 10 times we are getting different numbers because only 2 times we are getting same number. So rest of the 10 times we are getting different numbers. Now if we simplify this from the table of 2, it will be 5 upon 6. Now the last part is saying the larger of the 2 numbers on the card is 3. So if we are having 2 numbers on the card, the larger number must be 3. Okay, so now let's check that how many times we are getting this. See, here we have 1 3, okay, then we have 2 3, then we have 3 2, okay. We cannot take 3 4 and we cannot take 3 5. Why we cannot take this? Because these in two possibilities, the greater number or larger number is 4 and 5. 3 is lesser than 4 and lesser than 5 as well, okay. So we cannot take this one. We can only take 3 2, we will take 2 3, and we will take 1 3. So in these three cases, we are getting the larger number as 3, okay. So how many times we are getting this? 3 times. So the probability of this part will be, probability of third part will be, the possible outcomes are 3 2, 1 3, and 2 3. These are possibilities, okay. So 3 times we are getting this, so 3 upon 12. And then when we simplify it, 3 times 4 is 12. Okay, I hope you have understood this question. Now we are moving towards the next concept of probability, and in this concept we have a probability tree diagram. Shows all the possible events. The first event is represented by a dot. From the dot, branches are drawn to represent all possible outcomes of the event. The probability of each outcome is written on its branch. For example, we are tossing a coin, and on a coin we can only get head or tail, okay. And as we have discussed before, that the probability of head is 1 upon 2, so it's 0.5. And similarly, the probability of tail is also 1 upon 2, and this is also 0.5, because both has half of chance to come when we toss a coin. So here, if we start from this dot, how we will construct the tree diagram? We will join a branch from here, from this dot. We have drawn these two branches, okay. And then on these branches, we will write the probabilities. Like here we have written 0.5, and similarly here we have written 0.5. And on the corner of this arrowhead, we will write the possible outcome, that is either a head or a tail. Now, I can share one more example with you. So here we have another example. So if we toss a same coin 2 times, okay, if we toss the same coin 2 times, so here when we toss it first time, so either we will get a head or a tail. And similarly, if we toss that coin once again, then again when we toss it second time, then either we will get a head or a tail, because we are not having anything else on the coin. But how we will connect these two coins? So maybe when we toss a first coin, we are getting a head, okay. First time when we toss a coin, we are getting a head. And similarly, when we toss it once again, we will again get a head. So here we will join head with head, okay. Now if we toss a coin and we are getting a head, okay. Similarly, when we toss it once again, maybe we will not get head. In the second time we will get a tail. Then the second time we have got tail. So first time we have got head, but in the second time we have got tail. So how many? The possible outcomes is head, tail. Now, if we toss a coin and we have got tail on the first coin. Now we are again tossing it, and on the second time we have got a head. So the possibility is the first time we have got tail and the second time we have got head. Now once again, that when we toss the first coin, maybe we have got tail, and the second time again we will get tail. So then the possibility will be tail and tail. Okay, and as we know that whenever we toss a coin, the probability of head and tail is both 50-50% or 1 upon 2 or 0.5. So that's why here we have written probabilities as 0.5. Okay. Now I have taken one question from the same exercise 3A, book 4, 7th edition, mathematics, chapter number 3, exercise 3A, question number 17. In this question they are saying a bag contains 3 cards number 1, 3, 5, 1, 3 and 5. A second bag contains 3 cards number 1, 3 and 7. One card is drawn at random from each bag. Calculate the probability that the two numbers obtained are odd, both primes, have a sum greater than 4, have a sum that is even, have a product that is prime, have a product that is greater than 20 and have a product that is divisible by 7. So here in this case they haven't asked us to draw the tree diagram, but we can draw tree diagram to make it easy. Okay, in this type of questions it's up to you that either you can go for possibility diagram or you can draw tree diagram as well. So as I have to explain you how we will draw the tree diagram, so in this question we will draw tree diagram here. So in the first bag, here we have first bag, and in first bag we are having 3 numbers card, that is 1, 3 and 5. Now in the second bag we are having 4 cards. No, in the second bag also we are having 3 cards and those numbers are 1, 2 and 7. So maybe when we pick a card from the first bag we have got 1, okay, and now when we pick the card from the second bag, maybe it can be 1, maybe it can be 2 or maybe it can be 7, okay. Similarly, when we pick a card from the first bag, if it is 3, then maybe from the second bag we will get 1, from the second bag we will get 2, or from the second bag maybe we will get 7. Similarly, when we pick a card from the first bag, if it is 5 for example, so maybe from the second bag we will get 1, from the second bag we will get 2, or from the second bag we can get 7. Okay. So now we will write the sample space here. How we will write sample space? See, here we will write sample space as 1, 1. Then we will write 1, 2. Then we can have 1, 7. Now 3, 1, 3, 2, and then 3, 7. Now this one 5, 1, 5, 2 and 5, 7. So these are all possible outcomes we have. If we count it, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So total we have 9 outcomes. Okay. Now if you read its first part, so here they are saying are both odd numbers. So check how many times we are getting both odd numbers. So 1, 1 is odd. Okay. Then 1, 7 is odd. Then 3, 1 is odd. Then 1, 7 is odd. 1, 2 is not odd because 2 is an even number. 3, 1 is both odd. 3, 7 both odd. 5, 1 both odd and 5, 7 both odd. So check how many times we are getting both odd numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So probability is 6 and the total outcomes we have just counted, that is 9. Okay. So here we can write total outcomes like this. The total sample space is 9. Okay. So when we simplify this as a table with a table of 3, so it's 2 upon 3. So the answer of the first part is 2 upon 3. Now if we check its second part, here they are saying are both prime numbers. Now we will check prime numbers. So when we check prime numbers, we will start with 2. Now here we can say we have 3, 2, 3, 7, 5, 2 and 5, 7. All these are prime numbers. Okay. So now if we count it, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 upon 9. We cannot simplify this, so we will leave answer as it is. Now in the third part they are saying have a sum greater than 4. Now here when they are saying have a sum greater than 4, then in this case we will add both numbers. So when we add it, we can make one more column here as a sum. Okay, and we can add these two numbers. So if we add these two numbers here in this column, 1 plus 1 is 2, 1 plus 2 is 3, 1 plus 7 is 8, 3 plus 1 is 4, 2 plus 3 is 5, 3 plus 7 is 10, 5 plus 1 is 6, 5 plus 2 is 7 and 5 plus 7 is 12. So here we have make one column of sum. Now we can make a column of product also here, because in the next part they are asking product also. So if we multiply these two numbers, 1 multiplied by 1 is 1, 1 multiplied by 2 is 2, 1 multiplied by 7 is 7. Then 3 multiplied by 1 is 3, 3 multiplied by 2 is 6, and 3 multiplied by 7 is 21. 5 multiplied by 1 is 5, 5 multiplied by 2 is 10, and 5 multiplied by 7 is 35. Okay. Now let's move towards the third part once again. So here in the third part they are saying have a sum greater than 4. So let's check that when we check this sum column, how many times we are getting a number greater than 4. So 8 is greater than 4, 5 is greater than 4, 10 is greater than 4, 6 is greater than 4, 7 is greater than 4, and 12 is also greater than 4. Now if we count these numbers, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 times we are getting a number greater than 4. So again when we simplify this, it's 2 upon 3. Now let's move towards the next part. In fourth part they are saying have a sum that is even. So check how many even numbers we have now. So see here in this column, 2 is even number, 8 is even number, 4 is even number, 10 is even number, 6 is even number, and 12 is even number. So again we are getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times even number. So the probability of this part is 6 upon 9 and 2 upon 3. Okay. Now in next part, fifth part, they are saying have a product that is prime. Now check how many prime numbers we are getting in the product. So 2 is prime number, then 7 is prime number, 3 is prime number, then we have 5 as a prime number. Okay. 6, 21, 10 and 35. These are not prime number. So when we count this 4 times we are getting prime number. So the answer of this fifth part is 4 upon 9. Okay. Now in the next part they are saying have a product that is greater than 20. So now let's check that how many times we are getting a number greater than 20. So see here 21 is greater than 20 and 35 is greater than 20. Okay. So the answer of this part 6 is 2 upon 9. Again we cannot simplify 2 upon 9, so we will leave answer as it is. Then in the last part they are saying have a product that is divisible by 7. So we will check the multiples of 7 in the product column. Okay, so all the numbers which are multiples of 7 can be divisible by 7 as well. Okay, so here we have 7 times 1 is 7, 7 times 3 is 21, 7 times 7 is 35. 7 times 6 is, 7 times 5 is 35. Okay. So 3 times we are getting a number which is divisible by 7. So the answer of this 7th part is 3 upon 9. We can simplify this, so it will be 1 upon 3. Okay. I hope you have understood this question, and I have explained this question in detail. So you will not face problem when you construct the tree diagram and then solve the parts of the question. Now the next concept of probability is relative frequency. As I have told you that this was not the part of the syllabus before 2018. They have added relative frequency in the syllabus in 2018. When you check the past papers before 2018, you will not see any question of relative frequency. In 2018 and after 2018 papers, you will get the past paper questions of relative frequency. Now here, what is relative frequency is, you are planning to go skiing on the first weekend in July. The trip is costing you a lot of money and you don't want your money wasted on a weekend without snow. So you want to go on the trip, but you want that when you go on the trip, it must snow. Okay. So what is the chance of it snowing on that weekend? We can use past record to estimate that chance. Okay. So to find the chance of snow, we can check the past records. So if we know that it has snowed on the first weekend of July for 54 of the last 60 years. So it means 54 times in last 60 years it was snow in the first weekend of July. We could say that the chance of snow this year is very high. okay, because it means that only 6 times there were no snow in the first week of July. Otherwise, 54 times out of 60 years we had snow in the first week of July. To measure that chance, we calculate the relative frequency of snow on that weekend. We do this by dividing the number of times it has snowed by the number of years we have examined. So in this case, we can say the relative frequency of snow on the first weekend in July is 54 divided by 60. Okay. So whatever the trials we have, okay, or that happen, we will divide that by total. Okay, so we will get the chance or relative frequency. So that is 0.9. So whenever we use relative frequency, we use relative frequency basically to predict about something. Okay, whenever we want to predict about something, then we will use relative frequency, because 54 upon 60 is same as probability. But why we are saying this relative frequency? Because to find this, when we find relative frequency, we will use it to predict about something in future. Okay, so the relative frequency is usually expressed as a decimal and is calculated using the formula relative frequency is equal to number of times an event has occurred divided by number of trials, total number of trials. Okay, so in this formula, a trial is the number of times the probability experiment has been conducted. So here we have taken a data of 60 years, last 60 years, and 54 times it was snowed. So it means that we will divide 54 by 60. To understand this concept, I have taken one question from the past paper. Okay, this question is from May-June 2018, paper 1, and question number 12. According to this question, a dice is thrown 400 times. The results are shown in the table. So when we throw this dice 400 times, so the number on the dice is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, and then when we throw this dice 400 times, 65 times we have got number 1, 80 times we have got number 2, 70 times we have got number 3, 75 times we have got number 4, 50 times we have got number 5, and 60 times we have got number 6. Now here in the first part they are saying find the relative frequency of throwing the number 2. So how many times we have got number 2? 80. Okay, and how many times we have thrown this dice? 400. Okay, so to find the relative frequency, what we will do, we will divide the frequency of that particular number by the total outcomes, okay, or total number of times we have thrown that dice. So 80 upon 40, okay. When we simplify this, it will be 4 times 1 is 40, 4 times 2 is 8, so we can write it as 0.2, okay. Now in the next part, see, as I have told you that we use relative frequency to predict about something. So here they are saying that Imran throws the dice 1000 times. Okay, how many times would you expect the number 2 to be thrown? So how many times we can expect the number 2 will become when the Imran throws a dice 1000 times? Okay, so what we will do in this type of case, we will just multiply the relative frequency by the number of times. Okay, so here we have 1000 times. Okay, so 1000 multiplied by 0.2, so it is 200. So it means that when Imran throws this dice 1000 times, 200 times we will get number 2. Okay, in past papers you will see the relative frequency questions of all these types. Okay, they have only asked these type of questions up till now. They haven't given any tricky question of relative frequency in the past papers till now. Okay, so I hope you have understood this question as well. So here I'll end my video, and I hope you will understand all the concepts of probability through this video. First, I have explained you that what is sample space, then I have explained possibility diagram, tree diagram, and then relative frequency. Okay, you can check the past paper questions from the same channel, and I have uploaded so many questions of past papers also on the channel. So if you face any problem in any of the tricky question, you can check those questions from my channel. I hope you will understand this. Thank you so much.